want to start with the thank yous, but I'm going to leave that till the end. First thing I wanted to say was that I wanted to use all of the book signings and the book launches as an opportunity to promote local mental health organisations. So you can see there's flyers here for the Samaritans, My Mind, Saoirse Addiction Clinic. Greg's kindly brought some along as well. There's the Sunyata, and then there's the men's shed in Shannon as well. All of which are doing excellent work every day in order to help people who may be going through far worse or far less than I went through. It's not for us to judge or make that call, but I've been absolutely flattered and honoured and delighted that people have come forward to talk about the work that they do in the local community, and hopefully you can see certainly in the local community and in the media at large that there seems to be more talk about mindfulness, there seems to be more talk about mental health, and so if my book contributes to that in some small way, I'll have done my job. Mistakes, failures. Everyone seems to get hung up on this idea of being successful, what it means to be successful. And I can relate to that too. I like to think of myself as successful in some way. But I suppose the crux of the narrative and what I'm talking about in my book is embracing failure, making mistakes, and that this is ordinary. It's okay not to be okay. It's a part of life. We have ups, we have downs, and what characterises us is not so much how many times we get knocked down, but how we get back up again. And for me, a lot of that was down to the supports around me, not only friends, not only family, not only the Buddhist Retreat Centre, but I guess anywhere where there was support from like-minded people. So aside from promoting and championing honesty and truth, go out there and make mistakes, fail at something, do something and fail. It's the only way to learn, it's the only way to be. And I hold my hands up, I failed. I set out with the intention of jacking in the fags and the booze. I was in a bit of a rut, and after 4 months I started drinking again, so I failed. Now, as it happens, 4 years later, I'm still off the smokes after smoking every day for 25 years. So you could say that I succeeded in some small way, but regardless of what label you put on it, that's life. We have ups and downs. The bits I wanted to read was just about anger. And again, if it's something that people can relate to, so be it, and good and well. Now, and it's Monday the 9th of July 2012, I am at a crossroads. Our marriage, my career, my addictions, my family. I'm lacking in confidence and guidance. I know not what to do. I would certainly want to look at enrolling on a course in September, and I'd love to do something I love. A qualification in radio, broadcasting, programming, media would be perfect, especially sports journalism. I love writing about sports, especially football. And I go on to describe a bit of sports coverage from, I think, a tennis game. Meanwhile, away from the distraction of top-class sports, I return to confront and deal with my feelings once again. My soul laid open. Anger, such anger arising within me. Anger that I want to drink, anger that I won't. Anger that the fecking strimmer I bought doesn't work properly. Anger that the kids don't eat their dinner, or don't seem to do anything else they are told. Anger that when I take the dogs for a walk, they run off, nearly causing a pile-up by running into the road. Chasing another dog, because that dog's owners can't be asked to take responsibility for it. So they just leave it outdoors to roam the streets, pissing and shitting in other people's gardens. Anger that my supposed business partner is a waste of space. And anger at myself for letting it all happen. Anger at myself for letting it all get to me. And anger at myself for being so angry. And I go on to describe in occasionally colourful language to the disdain of my mother, who I can apologise to publicly. This kind of very, what Padraig touched on, connecting with vulnerability and just being open and honest and talking about how things are for me. So finally, I want to get round to the thank yous. Massive thank you to the guest speakers that have come along to give up their time and to promote the local work that they do in mental health. A massive thank you to Eoin and the staff at Eason who've gone out their way to host us this evening. Massive thanks to my family who have been a huge source of support, the mums and the wags. I suppose that the biggest thank you of all is to the lady who's not here, and that's my wife, Colette. In all the tough times that I went through, she was there for me when I was out of work, when my self-esteem was rock bottom, and when the chips were down, as it were. She stood by me and saw something in me that maybe other people wouldn't have. I certainly didn't see it in myself at the time and what I was going through. And in the words of J.K. Rowling, who famously said, rock bottom is a pretty solid foundation from which to build yourself up from, I can echo those sentiments. And as I say, regardless of whether the book sells, regardless of whether people describe it as a success or not, if my personal account helps one single other person who can relate to what I went through, then my job will have been done. Thanks again to everyone for giving up their time this evening.